Welcome to the Think Factory podcast. We got one question for you. What keeps you up at night?
Hello and welcome to the Think Factory Wellness Podcast. My name is Susan Kleiner. I'm a partner with Outside General Counsel Solutions, and I'm the host of today's episode. I have here with me today Ira Levy. He is with Prism Health, also Sunrise Detox, the National Marketing Director for Prism, and works with Sunrise. He has been called the mayor of Sunrise because of his commitment to the communities. He brings knowledge, experience, and wisdom to the detox environment, and he's always there when needed. He began his career in 1992 working as a mental health technician and admissions counselor. Later, he became a national marketing director and has distinguished himself as a leader in advocating for addiction treatment. So I'm so happy to have you here today. It's been a pleasure talking to you and getting to know you, and I'm so happy to welcome you to our podcast.
Same here.
So I know you have this great story of how it is that you got into working in the addiction and substance abuse field. So yeah. I know you've had kind of a non-traditional path. So tell me more.
Well, yeah, it wasn't. I didn't I didn't plan this out. I was bringing a meeting to a treatment center in New York City, and the clinical director said, "You should try to work in this field because you kind of get along with patients. I watch your interaction." And I said, "Yeah, but I'm a high school dropout and, don't have any education." And he said, "Well, you can go back to school. You could go work in the field." And I did. And in 1990, I started working at a program in New York City as a part-time mental health tech, 2 nights a week. And I enjoyed it. And I kind of just started really getting involved. And they opened up a facility in Florida where my whole family lived. So I had the opportunity to move down there to be a mental health tech. And then, saw some of the lousy stuff that goes on in the treatment industry. But I just kind of worked my way, did a lot of trainings. Lucky to have met up with some really good doctors and owners throughout the years that gave me an opportunity. And, my career really took off when the two gentlemen who started Sunrise Detox in 2004 asked me to join them as the marketing director of their first in 2004 in Lake Worth, Florida. And it was great to be on the ground floor of something, to really get my hands dirty, get my fingerprints on this facility. And we did it. And that was in 2004. Now here we are. In 2024, we have numerous detoxes in New Jersey, Georgia, Massachusetts, New York, and Florida. We have outpatient programs that Prism Healthcare has. So it's been a great ride to take. And I've opened I've been on the team that opened every Sunrise Detox. And it's, I think the great thing about what we do at Prism Healthcare is we have a mission, and it's I always have said that this is kind of like Field of Dreams. People know the movie. If you build it, they'll come. And we built this detox, and we did it the right way. And one of the inputs that I had was I've watched in my first 14 years, I saw some bad things that went on in treatment. Some people that were cutting corners that weren't. Patient care has to be number one. It can't be money. It has to be patient care and what you do and have a mission. If you do that, which we've had, here we are 20 years later, standing up, ready to open up another facility probably sometime in 2025.
That's amazing. So, you had no education in the field, but you got into it because you were good at it and you loved it. And I know that you've actually built yourself up, and you're a nationally known spokesman for comfortable and dignified detox, is something that I read about you. And I guess that when you started Sunrise, sadly, that was kind of something new, right?
Well, it was, and actually the the physician who started Sunrise, one of his mission was he was trying to get a family member into detox, 20 something years ago. And your options were very limited in, 2000, say, especially in Florida and in a lot of parts of the country. Your options were a psychiatric unit that had a detox wing in it. So you were in a locked unit, not very dignified, probably wearing scrubs, not eating good food, maybe not even being treated so well. It was almost like a one flew over the cuckoo's nest type deal. And the populations were mixed. You had psychiatric patients and you had opiate addicts and you had alcoholics. Um, so his goal, the founder of Sunrise, was to have a place where, people could come and be a dignified detox. People could come and be treated like human beings, get medically stabilized, and while they're there, meet with clinicians, licensed clinical social workers, RNs, master's level therapists, and discuss what the next move. Because that's the half of the battle in detox is okay. I have somebody in, and they're going to be with us for 5 or 6 days, maybe 7. It's what you do afterwards. If you just go home to that same, unhealthy setting, you're probably going to drink or you're probably going to use drugs again. So that was the way Sunrise was started, that it was a dignified place. And I always tell people, to me, I would put my family member in Sunrise. And I have put family members and friends' family members. I think the greatest compliment we've gotten is I have 1 or 2 treatment center owners that don't really utilize us because they work for companies that have to use hospital detoxes. But one owner and specifically called me up and he said, "Hey, my brother needs detox. Can you help him out?" And I said, "Well, why don't you send him to one of your hospitals that you work with?" He goes, "It's my brother. I don't want him to go to a hospital. I want him to go to Sunrise. You're the nicest place." And that was a nice compliment because this gentleman who worked in this field, who was a psychologist, wanted his family member to come to our place as opposed to places in the corporation he was at. So
Right.
it's real important.
Look, and not to totally diss on, hospital or psychiatric
No,
hospitals.
not at all. Not
Time
at all.
and place for everything. But it sounds to me like one thing that Sunrise did is like it sounds like detox was kind of punishing, right? Like we're going to punish you. You've been bad. And I think that kind of goes somewhat with the stigma versus the addict, the alcoholic is anyone. It's your next door neighbor,
That's
it's your mom, it's your brother, it's your uncle, it's your doctor, your lawyer, whatever. And, people deserve dignity. People don't deserve to be punished because, they suffer from a disease, right?
You're on the money. A lot of people think of like, these movies that they've seen where people are in these, hospitals that are dingy and there are hospitals like that. And sometimes you need to go to a hospital if that's the only medical thing that you can afford, maybe your insurance companies and things like that. But the real truth is it happens to everybody. You just said it. It happens to we have doctors in our detox, we have lawyers, we have professional athletes. It happens to human beings. We have clergymen in there. It happens to everybody. And basically that's what makes it, the stigma has started to go away over the past 20 years, where especially when you have some famous people getting sober, it used to be like unspoken, like about detox. Now it's kind of cool because I just heard that my favorite musician just gave up heroin. And my favorite athlete has a year sober. So it's kind of a cool thing. It's able to be talked about now, which is a marvelous thing because back in the day, people, you're a heroin addict. Well, you must be, a thief or something. So the stigma has slowly changed. Every now and then we have a patient comes in. I just had a lady in Orlando, probably in her 50s, an alcoholic, and she said, "Are they going to be drug addicts there? Like they use heroin?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I said to her, actually, The heroin is safer than the 3 bottles of wine you're drinking every day.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit, but it has gotten so much better in the past 20, 25 years. It really
Well,
has.
thank goodness, right? But there's still a long way to go, right? In terms of, especially when you look at opiate addiction and, the crisis that our nation is facing, and thinking that it can't happen to you, right? Like I've seen that, with my own eyes, in my own town. It's everywhere. And talking about detox for a minute, what some people might not realize is how important detox is, for alcoholism. Like, medically speaking, right? It's
Sure.
important to get into a medical facility and to be monitored because, the consequences can be, dire, death, right? To
Yes.
detox.
There is a major medical risk, obviously, if you've been drinking a long time, if you've been using benzodiazepines, such as like a Xanax type medication, there is a chance of, seizures, heart attacks, things like that. Um, Opiates and some other drugs, you're not gonna you're not going to die, but you're going to feel like you're dying. And the idea is we use medication to slowly titrate you off of whatever it is that we have different medications for different drugs and alcohol. So the goal is to give you X amount on day one, and then on day two, give you a little bit less. Day three, give you a little bit less. So in layman's terms, just slowly weaning you off, but we're weaning you off in a safe environment where there's 24-hour nursing, where there's medical staff 24 hours. And that's the important thing. And you also have a clinician, a licensed clinical social worker that you could talk to at any time. So you're doing it in a safe environment also, because we always see people try to, I'm going to stop on my own. Well, it's kind of hard if you can, and we don't know, everybody's different medically, right? So it's, I'm a certain age and I've had a heart attack. So if I started using heroin again, my detox might be a little tougher than the 22-year-old who's in perfect health. So it's really a case by case what we do.
I think also good to get a breather, right, in a dignified place
Oh
and get
yeah.
that help. Get the help for the aftercare, right? Get the help for, what happens next, whether or not it's inpatient or, intensive outpatient or partial hospitalization. And, when they come to, one of the Prism facilities, working with the professionals there, they can map out, what comes next, right? So you're
That's
there every
that like
step.
exactly, what I said earlier is aftercare. So, we when people are in detox, we know that you need something after, but not everybody needs the exact same thing. So, for instance, at Prism, we have residential programs throughout the country. We have intensive outpatients. We have mental health programs. And if we don't have a program for that particular person's needs, people like myself and the people on the outreach team, we know of programs that we can get them to. Maybe it's a gender specific program.
Mhm.
Maybe they need to, their eating disorder has come to the forefront in the past 6 days of detox. So we will make sure everybody gets the proper aftercare, which to me is the most important thing. Because a lot of times, and I've had family members say it to me, oh, my son came there last year and it didn't work. There is no quick fix for substance abuse recovery. It's a process. The same way it took a lot of people 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years to get to the point where they walk into a place like Sunrise Detox, it also takes years to constantly grow and get your life back, try to mend some of the fences that you might have knocked down. And it's a process. And, most addicts and alcoholics are instant gratification type people. So our goal is to try to just get them to accept the process, get them from point A to point B. In detox, our main goal clinically is to educate, motivate, and inspire them. Educate them to addiction. We have nurses and clinicians doing groups. Uh, Inspire them maybe by people like myself and other people on our team that could share their experience, strength, and hope, and then point them in the right direction and link them up with people. So it's kind of, try to make it fun.
Well, and also let people know that they're not alone, right? I guess addiction thrives, when it's a secret and when you feel
Sure.
like you're alone, but when you can do it as a we, it's different. So you're the national marketing director, and as I said before, they call you the mayor of Sunrise. What is your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part is meeting with patients and families and intervening and convincing the patient to come into detox. And a lot of times, because of that stigma that we talked about, a lot of times people are a little scared. So I always tell a family, pack a bag and bring your loved one over. And I'll meet you there, show you around, show you where you're going to be sleeping, maybe meet a nurse or a counselor. And if you feel comfortable, then stay. I'd say 95% of the people that have come and packed their bags have stayed. And that's when you say, what's my favorite part, is seeing somebody come in and they're scared and they're using high doses of opiates or drinking exorbitant amount of alcohol. And then a week or so later, having a conversation with them about what they're doing with their recovery. It's just beautiful to see people, start the cycle of recovery, which is great for me. And the final piece is, a lot of times I always tell people, when you're going to go to treatment, after treatment, come back and visit us at one of our detoxes. We'd love to see what you're doing. And it's great when somebody comes back, that, oh yeah, I was at Sunrise 5 years ago, and you're still living proof that it works. If you do this, it takes work, and it's no secret ball. It's just, it takes an effort, and you have to have the desire that you had to go get alcohol and drugs. When I want to use drugs, nobody could stop me. Nobody could tell me, oh, it's too late. You don't have a car. It's too far. I'm going to get there. And that's the same thing with recovery. Nobody should make excuses like, I can't do that because it's too late at night, or I have to travel 10 miles. So it's making the effort and having desire. It really is.
And so then you're lucky enough to, share your own recovery process with people, but then also, you're able to really witness theirs. So that sounds pretty amazing.
It's great to see it happen and people come back. I have, like I said, I've been doing this for over 30 years, almost 35 years. So there are people that I've worked with, done interventions with 25 years ago, who are now head physicians in a hospital, clinical directors in places, or just people who have gotten their business back together and see what they've done. And that's the fun part, when you see
Right.
somebody. And because I travel a bit to all of our centers, I get to meet different people, and I go to different events, and every now and then you run into somebody, and they'll say, you're the guy that got me into treatment in 2007. And I'm like, wow, that's nothing better than that. Can't put a price tag on that, because you're talking about someone's life.
That's amazing. So talking about, yourself and, you've had this long career, is there any advice that you would give to your younger self?
That's funny, because one of my children some years ago asked me if I could go back to being 12 years old again, what would I change? And, I had a couple of things in my head, but I didn't really want to share about getting arrested or overdosing to my 12-year-old at that point. So I thought about it. And the one thing I wish my 12-year-old self or 15-year-old self would have done was, I wish I would have gotten an education. I have gotten to a point in my career where I've kind of earned my stripes, and I've worked enough, but I had I had to pass over a few opportunities in this industry because I didn't have a degree or a license to take certain positions. So that's really the only regret. Stuff like about personally, because I thought about it when my 12-year-old said this. What would I change? And the honest answer for me was I wouldn't really change anything because everything that transpired in my addiction and even in my recovery, where I've done some stupid stuff, um, is what makes me the guy that's sitting here talking to you. So a lot of the stuff is what makes me who I am. Did I like certain things that happened? No, but because life's a learning process. So even once you give up drugs and alcohol, you have to deal with certain things, and that's part of what recovery is about. Learning how to deal with reality, learning how to deal with burying a parent, learning how to get dumped in a relationship, learning how to lose a job, and then also learning how to have good stuff happen to you, getting a promotion. We don't know how to do that. So, all of those experiences are what made me, who I am today. But it would have been a little easier if I would have maybe had a few years of college.
Well, I guess for you, you went to the School of Hard Knocks. That,
So,
that's where you got your degree. It's interesting when I talk to people who, like yourself, who are in recovery. When I ask them that question, they pretty much all say, "I wouldn't change a thing because it got me where I am today." So,
yeah, it's true.
what a
It's true.
what a what a profound sense of gratitude you have for where you're at. So listen, if people are looking for you, where can they find you? If somebody wants to connect and say, "Hey,
Well,
I'd like to talk to Ira."
you can go on the Prism Healthcare website, and it has a phone number that goes into our offices, and they could connect with anybody there and ask for me, and they'll patch the phone call through. Um, that's the best way, really. You could also anybody could send me an email directly at Levy, Levy, at sunrise-detox.com, and I respond to emails at all time. So you could go on the Prism Healthcare site, get the 800 main number. It takes us into our offices in Florida, and one of the people there manning the phones will forward it to me. Or like I said, I Levy at sunrise-detox.com. Love to hear from anybody. Always looking to help collaborate with other treatment centers, other professionals, or just if there are people that are looking for somebody to reach out to. I think one of the best things that one of the services that we do provide as a company and me personally is we're a resource for people. So if somebody is watching this podcast in Chicago and is looking for some help, I might not have a facility in Chicago, but I'll know somebody in Chicago that I could link you up with. And I think that's important. It's not just, oh, if you can't come to my place, I don't want to help you. I'll help you. I'd like to try to get you into one of my facilities, but the end game, the end goal is to get you into the right program. So email or prismhealthcare.com website, you could ask for me, and the the people there will get a hold of me.
Yeah, thank you. Much appreciated. So what's coming up for you? What's coming up with Sunrise or Prism that you're looking forward to?
Well, we recently in the past year Prism has purchased a hospital outside of Philadelphia called Beacon Point, which is a mental health facility. So that's something exciting. We're also opening up a mental health program in New Jersey, straight mental health, not substance abuse, and probably somewhere in 2025 in the Virginia area, there'll be another Sunrise Detox.
Wow.
So
So
we're
lots
working
to look
on
forward to. Lots to look forward
what
to, but a lot of work.
working on those. And just also, the key is to make sure our mission stays the same. There used to be a group of us that really opened all these places up and went all over the country. And when you get to a certain point, you can't be in 3 cities at once. So you have to train people. And that's one of the things that I've done is had reps that, now provide, I have a gentleman in New Jersey, I have a gentleman in Massachusetts and Georgia who they don't need me. They've learned over the past 7, 8, 9 years the way our company is, our mission. So that's really how you grow. It's you get people, to do it our way, the way that we've done it successfully. So, and our team is constantly growing
That
because
sounds great.
there's only a couple more years of doing this before you enjoy the sunshine of Central Florida, where I live.
Oh, very nice. Well, listen, it's been great having you here today. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for appearing on the Think Factory. And for our listeners, be sure to check out our other podcasts where my colleagues and I talk to other industry experts and leaders. And again, I want to thank you for being part of the Think Factory Wellness podcast. Thanks for being here with me today, Ira. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Anybody who's listening, the company has a lot of different professionals in different industries. So if you're interested in other topics, I actually went on and listened to a few to see what was going on. So, I did because I like to know that I'm going on a podcast that is really well run and professional. So,
well,
nice job.
Thanks for the plug. I appreciate that.
Nice job on your end. Nice job on your end.
Thanks so much. And thanks for listening.